Hey everybody, Stealth Stalker. So I finished up my new ghillie suit. Wanted to show y'all, give you a little in-depth look of what I've done, some changes that I would do, and things that have been more beneficial using this than the poncho type or what have you, the stalker type suit. So, it's a real sniper suit, full on. Let's just start from the outside and we'll work our way in. It was a tan flight suit. Started off with the front, actually. On the front section you might be able to see, I'll also bring in the close-in shots. Got some canvas, and I have speedy stitched all the way around for the front slide protection, you know, the padding. And then I've also shoe glued over that. There's padding inside there. I spray painted it with some textured type of spray paint, because out in my area, in my surroundings, in the dead of winter when everything dies around me, that's another reason why I wanted to do it kind of in front of this contrasting background, is so you guys can get a better view of the actual the colors in this, rather than when we take it out into the grass. It'll blend in, it'll be harder to see. But the majority of the time in my area, unless we get crazy amounts of moisture, a lot of stuff's dead. And so the baseline is all dead. And then you build your greenery on top of that. I'm never gonna have to worry. I could wear this all year round. Never have to worry about color changing or anything. I just add the natural vegetation on, and this looks like the ground. So that's kind of why I went with this color. And so there's the rock and everything. It's just, it is what it is. Got the knee pads in there. Got the whole frontal section from the chest up a little bit past about the mid waist. I put elbow patches on. I'm gonna put the foam on the inside of the jacket for the elbow pads, because I tend to notice that when you're crawling around, for some reason your elbows get destroyed. So I know that, just better protection. Put the foam on the inside, and that's pretty much it. Oh, so when people buy these flight suits and do ghillie suits out of them, they usually don't take the zippers off or any of the pockets or anything. I went through with one of those needle poppers and I popped off every single pocket on the front section, so there's no zippers. So when you're crawling around, I'm skinny, I'm bony, it is what it is. And so I went through and I took off everything that I could. And so that's one thing, all the excess, you know, you don't really need it in my point of view. I just got a basic loop for your hands, or for your thumb hold. Keep it down, keep it from riding up. A lot of guys use a nylon strap or something. I tried different variations of nylon straps, and I'm not in the military. If it ever gets to the point where I have to use this for survival, I'll put in nylon, but for comfort and for taking photos and video and just creeping around this hairband, perfect, fine enough. I put in, okay, so here's where I got kind of creative, but I messed up. So there's an elastic strap that goes around on these flight suits, and when I pop that off, there's this elastic band. And so I figured, hey, I'll make some stirrups, and so that elastic band will help. Well, I installed these wrong, and when I redo them, they're gonna be awesome, but they're gonna be stirrups that have an elastic give that keep it from, you know, riding up. I just messed up. That was more of a measure twice and cut once type of deal. And I should have measured about 4 or 5 times. And then on the back section here, well, so let's, before we get to the back. So on the inside, I cut out the inside, as you can see, and I sewed in the mesh, so a lot of breathability. I don't really think, I mean, I wore this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it was real warm outside, so I might have to do some more stuff. But here's some more. As you can tell, I went around that whole sucker with that speedy stitch and speedy stitched these patches on, so there's no way these are coming off. There's no way nothing's gonna happen to them. So, and then I speedy stitched the mesh in there. For my bonding agent, I've used multiple things. I've used hot glue, silicone. Honestly, what I've found works the best, the easiest, cures the quickest is shoe glue. Next thing I went, excuse me, shoe glued my mesh onto my suit. I actually, for this suit, I went with longer jute. What I've found is after a couple years, it's a never-ending art project. That's one thing that people gotta comprehend about ghillie suits, is like, it's not a set it and forget it unless you have multiple ghillie suits like I've got. I've got multiple ghillie suits where I don't have to keep adding and taking out burlap, different seasons. Just makes life easier, plus it's fun. But on the contrary, you know, like having something as stout as this that's gonna last, versus like on my very first ghillie suit, I used hot glue. That was an idiot mistake. That was stupid. And so I've been having to go back and shoe glue it's just the bond is so excellent with shoe glue. And then, so up here on the top sections, around the shoulders and on the waist areas, I went through and I speedy stitched the netting actually to the flight suit, because I don't want this coming off. Other than that, with the jute lengths that I used were about 8-10 inches long or so, 2 feet. So the longer ones are at the top. So we're gonna have longer jute. What I've found, just years of building ghillie suits and doing this, is what I've found to break up your outline and being able to be mobile. We've got a lot of briar and thorn bushes around here, and so with the long jute hanging off of your arms and around your legs, it'll take you forever to get through everything. Plus, you're making a lot more noise, and people be shooting America. Hey. So what I found, long jute on the hat and around the shoulders. So when that comes off your head, onto your shoulders, you're more of a mound. And then around, you know, your torso and towards your legs and stuff, that can be shorter. That's just a personal perspective. And like I said, like there's no one set it and forget it for ghillie suits, okay? Like there's leaf suits, there's so many different kinds. This is just your professional sniper ghillie suit, I guess you would say, you know. And as far as my design or the color scheme that I went with, I want to mimic the actual ground. So when all this is dead here in the next couple weeks, I'll take you over here and show you the grass is dead over here. What everything will look like will be dead. This is going to be my base layer. And so then when I go through and I can pick up these dead branches and stuff and intertwine them, just disappear. That's why I went with this color scheme. If I was in the woods, the deep woods, the dark woods, it might be different, but even there, all it comes down to is manipulating your baseline and adding your natural vegetation. Because what it comes down to is you want to mimic, in my perspective, because you're in a ghillie suit, we're not flying in the air, you know, we're not really that tall, so all of our movement, if we're creeping around in a ghillie suit, majority of the time we're like 4 feet and below, you know? And so why not try to mimic what's around us? And so the easiest thing you can mimic is the ground, in my perspective. once you mimic the ground and then you just get all these other disruptive members, you know, the natural vegetation, and apply those, then you become invisible. And, you know, it also becomes a movement, you know, gets deeper. But that's my mindset, and that's like why I wear that one ghillie suit, the lighter one, the most on this side of the mountain, is because there's the ground is just different. If I was in the deep woods, the real thick timber where it's real dark and a lot more greens and browns, I would be wearing my dark brown green ghillie suit. It just makes more sense. But on the contrary, it just, you know, you break up your outline, you're smart about it. And so that's pretty much for the ghillie suit itself. That was a heck of a project. And I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna show you guys some different things. And so real quick, we'll go over the hat. It's a desert boonie. Sorry, my dog sounds like a hog. Yeah. So it's a desert boonie, and I just connected it, I think, 6 different spots to the netting. And so I've used burlap and raffia. That's what they call this strain. And so when we get over there, you'll see how this raffia, I need to add a little bit more in there. You know, it'd be crazy. Like, I watched a guy, he made a whole suit out of the raffia, and in this environment over here, it would be pretty killer. But without any vegetation, I'm gonna put this on and show you what it looks like. We're gonna do some demos, and then I'm gonna integrate some natural vegetation into this, and I'm gonna show you just kind of where my mindset is when it comes to this kind of color scheme. It could have even been darker brown, you know, I mean, it could have been a little bit darker. But another thing that I noticed here, we can see for like, you know, half a mile. You know, you can see across the canyon, you know, and it's just so far away. And I've seen hunters, I've seen people walking, and they're wearing pretty light camouflage or clothes, and they just stick out like crazy because they're still dark. Their whole mass is so much more darker than the overall, you know, the wilderness, if you will. And so that's why another reason why I went lighter is because it's a lot easier to go darker. It's so much easier. You can, you know, go get some pine or whatever, some saplings or some grass or whatever you needed to do to make it darker. You can tie bark onto it if you wanted to, but it's just if I needed to, when all this stuff dies, I'm not gonna have to integrate natural vegetation. And so my mindset is, I'm not a sniper, I'm not in the military, I'm a creep. I like creeping on wildlife. I like taking video, and so usually when I show up to a spot, I'm not gonna want to spend, you know, 30-45 minutes vegging up, unfortunately. But I'm gonna have some videos here. I'm gonna get on some of the trails here around Halloween, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. But so yeah, that's pretty much the ghillie suit. Now I'm gonna throw it on. So we got a couple examples. I might have blended, I probably didn't. So I'm gonna veg up and I'm gonna show y'all how effective it is to go lighter on your color than darker. Stay tuned. We got some vegetation on. Let's go see how it works. Hey, thanks for joining me for another video, guys. I appreciate it. I'm excited for this new ghillie suit. Put a lot of effort into it. Spent a lot of time and effort, and hopefully when everything dies down, we'll get some videos. I got a bunch of things in the works. I'm gonna get some videos of my different ghillie suits, and I want to put a video out on when to use certain camouflage systems over other camouflage systems to help and aid in better results for hunting, wildlife videography, just stuff that I've come across that, like wearing a full suit like this, if you're walking over the fallen timber up on the mountain, you would probably die, just to be honest with you. So I've got a lot of things, some prank videos, Halloween's coming up, so we got some of that stuff coming on. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and if you like this video, if you like the content, give it a like. It helps the page grow. Try to get some try to get out there to people. So I appreciate y'all for joining. In the meantime, stay creepy, keep it sleazy.